afternoon, everyone. This is Jared RAND, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Wednesday, May 22, 2024, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. Tonight, around 9:15 p.m. or so Eastern, we'll be having a time for change call. I'm going to address financial situation on the planet. When it comes down to life-mind mastery, within the great mystery, it's all about discovering the source of pure awareness inside. This is that simple, obvious awareness that is always watching, listening, and experiencing everything in your life all the time. It is the light behind the movie screen of your mind, responsible for projecting the entire picture onto everything that you feel, sense, and see. It is responsible for shining the light on every single thought and feeling that you have about anything. It is always the source of what your experience is in every moment of your existence. Now, we don't give awareness enough credit. We rarely recognize that it's there and hardly ever take the time to sit down with it, relax into the source of it. The reason we take awareness for granted is because it is ever present, always here, now, just like the air you're breathing in this very moment. Yet think about it. What if awareness wasn't present anymore? What would happen to your life? Who would you be without awareness? Who would exist if there were nobody to be aware of your existence anymore? These are some deep thoughts to contemplate. Yet, when we do take the time to explore them, something magical happens. We start becoming more in touch with this divine state of awareness. Whatever we focus on is what we experience more of, and eventually manifest into physical action and form. Whatever we meditate on results in who we are going to become tonight and tomorrow morning. As we become more aware of the infinite spiritual source of awareness inside, we become more connected with what's totally in charge of what we're magnetizing. We can see each thought fly by and see exactly how each one is attracting, creating, and designing how our entire lives unfold and manifest. It is only when we become conscious of this perfect divine play manifesting inside us and all around us that we stop fighting ourselves and each other and beating our heads against our inner emotional prison walls. And when we stop pushing up against this life and start appreciating that everything is an aspect of the great sacred mystery, we start resonating at a higher level of consciousness. We begin feeling more expansive when we wake up in the morning, greet the day with a childlike curiosity, creativity, and wonder. We do this because at the source of pure awareness, it's easy to realize there truly are no actual prisons in this infinite quantum field of intelligent energy. Prisons are only limiting aspects of our highly creative imagination. Now, none of us, what would happen if none of us had names? None of us on this planet. Nobody had a name. What would happen? And, okay, we didn't know what a name was. We didn't know what Bill Johnson or Mary Smith or Spot the dog. We would not know what names were. What would transpire? We would be more apt, out of awareness, to understand that we're one. Why do we have names? We have names so that each one of us can live in an illusion of separation, so that we can experience in the illusion of individualism life. It allows us to, each of us, go into a body, we get a name and all the rest of the stuff, and so we experience life. Every one of us, in little, different ways, different ways. But this allows us to entertain ourselves. It's very possible that on a karmic level, every one of us has a unique inner emotional prison. And this is part of our unique soul's destiny. Every human came here to release the lie their soul was fed. They came to re-experience the feelings of being confused, rejected, abandoned, hated, suppressed, depressed, and stuck in order to transcend them all. We needed to step harder on thorns hiding in our shoe in order to stop hiking up this great mountain and remove it with love. At some point, every day, we each run into some feeling of being stuck, blocked, or challenged by something or someone. We feel limited, small, powerless, or suppressed from our full expression. Every human mind already has the program installed to throw itself into some emotional dumpster repeatedly. There are many little thorns hiding in our shoes that we are unaware of. Thus, something terrible happens in the outer world. We get dumped by a lover, we end up trashing our self-esteem or our love life for life. Our feeling of being empowered and falling into some treacherous feeling of being locked up in an emotional prison we cannot escape from. All of this thorny karma we carry may sound terribly depressing, yet it's good to remember that this universe is more loving, mysterious, and intelligent than we could ever imagine. There is a very beautiful yet unobvious reason why this divinely intelligent, deeply eternal loving universe has set life up to throw each and every one of us through experiences of emotional pain, agony, and suffering. The reason is so that we stop everything we are doing and become deeply inspired to evolve in a spiritual dimension. The spiritual path is the only way we can remove all of our thorns and break out of our thick mental and emotional prisons. The only problem is that the mind tends to get lazy and wrapped up in old habit and would never search for the keys to our spiritual freedom unless we felt deeply trapped, imprisoned, or stuck. The mind loves to create these emotional prison cells in the brain, as each one provides new fuel to blast off into a new experience of creativity, growth, evolution, movement, and eventually reach total liberation. So we all have these wonderfully perfect, prickly prisons constructed inside of us. Each one is destined to create a deep yearning and desire to be free. We can reject this idea, ignore it, or accept it. Just notice what happens inside your body either way. This search for freedom is as much our destiny as the prisons we've placed ourselves in. There are no real enemies in this world. Never have been. There are only imaginary shadows. The thorns in our shoes can be removed once we realize that they are also created by our own imagination. We must choose to move beyond the mind, through the unconscious, righteous mind that believes it is aware, yet is truly ignorant and not worshiping the great mystery 24 hours a day. It is this ignorance that is our only real enemy. The mind that is deeply stuck in thought, an ego, and will only strive to create something new when some form of horrific pain, fear, or slavery begins bubbling up inside. The mind is imagining everything that you're experiencing right now. It is believing that your thoughts, beliefs, and all your limitations are real. It is entertaining the feeling that being financially stuck is real, or that your relationships are never going to improve, or you'll always live in the same house forever. It has this idea that whatever challenging life experience you're having right now just may be that way forever. The sensations of emotional imprisonment sure do feel real, don't they? Yet when we step back from them, we see they are just a conglomeration of negative thoughts. When we step back from the mind with awareness, we can understand that we are the ones who have thrown ourselves into jail with our imagination. And from this awareness, then we can step out of jail, just with using our sweet, simple, yet all-powerful imagination. One who knows the self has nothing more to do, nor has he any more thoughts. From then on, the infinite power will carry out all further actions that may be necessary for him, Raman Maharishi. Anytime we choose, we can gift ourselves the get out of jail pass. We must choose to accept that everything and everyone in this life is part of this deep, sweet, holographic, infinite mystery. In this acceptance, we stop feeling limited. We see how our imagination is co-creating everything, designing this entire thing we deem as reality. Then and only then can we understand what it takes to be truly free. By knowing what is creating thought, we stop believing in all of its fantasies We realize that any potential feeling of slavery is a choice from here on out. We understand that we always have the free will and choice in how we wish to interact and engage with any thought that enters the mind, and can keep it like a winning lottery ticket, or toss it away like a used banana peel. My invitation right now for you is to not hold on to any beliefs that show up about yourself, others, and this life. Choose the mystery over certainty, just because it's more exciting. It's simply more interesting to not know than to know. And when you're living within the mystery 24 hours a day, you suddenly find yourself becoming spontaneous, free from hesitation, doubt, and barely have any fear. It requires all the courage you have to keep choosing the mystery over the normal way of being human. Yet, you're much more likely to experience your fears as some weird bubbling state of excitement than something you run from. You might even see your life as this wild, passionate birthing of random desires to engage and disengage from. Ultimately, it is a mystery how long or short your life is going to last. So why not start embracing it now? When we embrace the mystery as a way of living this life, the mysterious way keeps us truly alive. We start abiding in a state of wonder and deep curiosity about everything. We stop defining who we are and start realizing that truly we are actually indefinable. We start seeing amazing intelligent energy is here now, directly in front of our eyes. You see how this is like an unraveling. It's like if you ever had a bunch of electrical cords, right? And somehow they have become all intertangled, mixed up. And you look at it and you go, what a mess. You say, how in the heck am I going to get up? And so you start in untangling this ball of confused wire. And it gets a little tedious, and then you get a little frustrated, then you get a little impatient. And maybe you just say, the heck with it. I'll just go get new wire. It might be like, say, Christmas lights. I'll get some new lights. This is ridiculous. It's going to take me hours to unravel this. This is how we approach this life. It's enmeshed. It's intermingled like the Christmas lights. And it is our direction through our imaginations to unravel it. Okay? Now, like the Christmas lights that are all snaggled up, our lives seem to be that way, and we get frustrated. So we say, the heck with it. I just don't care to mess with this right now. So we put it kind of like in the closet. And we go about our lives. But that it never disappears, because we haven't, out of curiosity, wanted to unravel that ball of Christmas lights. You can't find the plugs to plug into the outlet because they're all buried and it's all miscombobulated. then you begin to worry, how am I going to do this? I should get some more. I afford some more. It's like there are diseases, diseases of the psyche. And what is the psyche? The society, social structure is the human psyche. So, such as worry, right? It is a dis-ease of the psyche, which forms when we feel disconnected from our soul and our spiritual roots. Something happens in this life, and a perpetual stream of negative fear-based thoughts flood into our head and begin repeating themselves over and over and over again. Fearful feelings bubble up inside and fill the narrowing mind with doubt and resistance to trusting this life. The thing we are worried about may or may not even come to be. Yet the mind clenches too tight and is able to let go and relax. We cannot rely on the logical, rational mind. Can't rely on that to serve us, to serve as our guide, and forget what it's like to live from our heart. That's what we're doing here. The logical, rational mind serving as our guide, and in the meantime we forget or atrophy on what it's like to live from our heart. We then become lost in the trail of perpetual tension left behind in the mind's anxious what-if thinking. So it's connected, see, because the worrier inside of us has lost its spiritual roots. It's forgotten how to deeply enjoy this life, be free from attachments in this world, and trust that everything is always unfolding perfectly in this divine, all-intelligent universe, which never, ever makes mistakes. See, it's when we don't trust our spiritual connection, what do you think happens? Well, worry, stress, fear, anxiety come flooding in. So what does that mean? Well, it means that the majority of us don't trust our spiritual connection to this universe. And it isn't really a disconnection, but illusion-wise, it's a disconnection. And a disconnection creates the assumption for all of us that we are powerless beings. You can see it everywhere. Just watch. Every day. You can see it. You're not judging, you're watching. And what happens when we have this illusional disconnection spiritually? What happens? Well, we don't trust that everything is always unfolding perfectly in this divine, all-intelligent universe, which never ever makes mistakes. And we don't, by not trusting our spiritual connection to this universe, the illusionary disconnection creates the assumption that we are powerless beings who are not the real manifestors of our future. We're not the real this is what we believe, which is so far from the truth. The ego mind wants full control of reality, thinking that having a stronger, more strategic hold on this life is the most optimum place to be. When we resist trusting in life, we stop letting in love and honoring the divine mystery that surrounds us. And the ego mind then becomes very tight, tense, demanding, controlling, and worried about everything. The ego abhors being weak, vulnerable, unprotected from unexpected change. It thinks real strength is found in hardness and wants total security, safety, and 100% guarantee that this life will be okay. Yet, the ego doesn't realize that this life is a perpetual leap of faith into the unknown, which is always, perpetual always, leap of faith into the unknown. It has forgotten that true strength is found in softness, and that water always wins over rock in the end. So in a way, we're teaching our ego, and it's learning how to have a soft, forgiving heart filled with trust. For this is the only way to relax, enjoy this lifetime, and truly become completely worry-free. Now, it is tricky to catch, and sometimes super challenging to stop. We can get accustomed to blindly following the over-analytical, skeptical, doubting mindset and feel this is more intelligent and trustworthy than our free-flowing, spontaneously arising intuition. Now, those who are addicted to worry, which most people are to some degree or extent, the worry addict inside us is that part which has stopped appreciating life just the way it is. How many of us do? Ask that question. How many of us on this planet appreciate this life just the way it is? It feels incapable of accepting that whatever will manifest tomorrow will be for the highest good of all concerned. So this illusion, this worrier inside of us, is like a 24-hour slave laborer who's constantly efforting for security through pushing the mind to dwell only on a negative perspective of life. It is logical and so fearful that it believes thinking positively is just some weak, gullible, naive, unrealistic mindset that is unprepared for some potential future horror that could occur. Sound familiar? And this is a great Chinese proverb. I repeat it a lot to myself. If your problem has a solution, then why worry about it? If your problem doesn't have a solution, then why worry about it? Huh. Now, there's not much you can do to convince a super worried mind that a negative outcome is not coming ahead, is there? Biochemical cocktail has been created in the worry-filled brain that make it quite challenging and almost painful to believe in positive thoughts. Have you ever been there? You ever done that? Someone tries, they come in, they kind of chime in, and they say, well, you do have this, 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 and this. Yeah, but that doesn't help me now. So this The worrier feels at home, and life is somewhat under control if it keeps thinking negative thoughts. That's the truth. Why do you believe we have what we have on this planet right now and have had it for so very long? Now, this worried brain cocktail generates this right feeling that we should be worried and continue on this path, being even more serious and concerned about any potentially highly critical or important life situation. So it doesn't trust life or take a vacation. It's never a good time to joke around, have any fun, appreciate our spiritual nature, or celebrate being alive today. When this cocktail of worried biochemicals take over the brain, because they do, it's so powerful that the only place to find any freedom of clarity is by shifting gears into higher consciousness. When we interject a steady stream of pure awareness into our mind, we slowly stop believing that our fearful fantasy is going to manifest. The energy of pure consciousness acts like a river of clean, clear, flowing water which purifies away the negative ideas which have little foundation in reality. By simply being aware of our consciousness for a few minutes, we can instantly release our ego's need to be afraid and in control. We can begin to sip a deeper, succulent experience of this life that feels open, trusting, and loves enjoying the sensations of a deeper relaxation inside. A fearful, worried mind. You could tell a fearful, worried mind several million times not to worry. Yet the reason why it continues worrying is that it is uneducated. Ignorance. Doesn't know how to relax the body, love the mystery, trust in a perfect future. It thinks too much, feels too powerless, feels the need to be in control of it all. Yet, when it imagines some fearful scene is occurring, believes its thoughts are having no energetic impact on the outer environment or people. And actually, the opposite of that is true. The worried mind is ignorant of what quantum physics has proven the past 50, 60 years. That thoughts are things that impact our world. Every thought and every feeling you have is impacting your environment, community, and this entire world on some level. You could have somebody, that you're emotionally connected with, close to. They could be on the other side of the world. Okay? And the two of you can feel it when you shift into a highly emotional state of love, anxiety, or fear. People are more prone to doing business with those who live from a state of trust, faith, and connection. Learned this a long time ago when we were evaluating workforces for corporations across the planet. Now, this is rather than worry and fear. We are able to manifest, magnetize, and attract the right people and situations we want when our heart is resonating with the feeling that everything is going to be fine. And not superficial. People, they'll do that superficially and it has no effect. It isn't sincere. It isn't from the heart mind. The more we all understand the deep power we each hold in every thought we think, the easier it will become to step back from the worried mind and transcend it, which means leave it behind. If and when we cannot step away from the mind, what are we? We are a mere slave to its forces. Now, when any of us look at our worries directly, we may see that they typically are directed at the outer world. The mind tends to get hooked on thoughts about what? Possessions, money, situations, home life, our physical body, what other people think. If our loved ones are doing okay, and what we will manifest in our future. The untrained mind can worry about anything. It is a real creative genius that will poke around every possible fearful corner. It's going to find fear somewhere. It's going to find something to worry about. Sometimes the mind will worry about our loved ones, thinking that this is a form of caring about them. We might even feel guilty if they don't worry about them, right? Thinking that not worrying or fearing for their life means we don't truly care about them. The problem with this is that this worrying energy is sending out a negative vibration of fear that is unhealthy, untrusting, unsupportive, and actually pulls their loved ones down energetically. When we worry about someone, it energetically drains the life force of another person, being, cutting off our trusting relationship with them and causing them to feel more isolated and lonely in this universe. Be aware. This worry, fearful, I touch on it a lot. This worrying is a highly unconscious habit that can be more addictive than cocaine or crack cocaine or sugar. It can completely destroy a life that was potentially filled with joy, love, and laughter. I've watched this happen numerous times. And what's interesting about it? They don't listen. They don't listen. They never listen. They act like they do once in a great while, but they just don't listen. They just continue with the self-destruct. If we don't learn, or when we don't learn, to transcend this addictive mindset, the energy can even implode within ourselves, which I have seen. When worry becomes self-abusive, we perpetually doubt who we are, why we are here, what we are doing, and fear being wrong about everything we say and feel. We can end up doubting our lives on every level, and this can evolve into an insanely stressful way of being that manifests into a psychosomatic disease and eventually death. I've seen this happen. Maybe you have too. Now this is something to worry about. It's vital to create a new response to this life where we are deeply appreciating and trusting each moment, feeling the great goodness of life that is naturally here and all around us right in this very now moment. It's a decision for us to own the fact. Own the fact that every single worried thought that you have is being generated by you. You're the one creating it, and so you're the one who can stop creating it. Now, if and when you don't take responsibility for it, you cannot stop it. You simply investigate what is happening inside, and you'll see that your mind is focusing on what it does not want to think, have, do, imagine, feel, experience, or manifest. When we take responsibility for this, knowing we are the master and authority of our next thought process, and can simply choose to focus on whatever we want to focus on, we begin investing our time and energy into something fun, uplifting, trustworthy, and new. It is empowering to know that we can imagine anything we want at any time. And that new thought process will impact our experience of reality. What if all your time was spent focusing on what you do want to manifest instead of being invested in visualizing and fearing what you don't want? How would your body feel by the end of the day? When you see that it all boils down to focusing on what you want, you empower yourself to only visualize something wonderful each day. You begin to imagine the warm rays of sunshine reaching into your heart. As your feet are cozily nestled in the warm sand. As you're gazing at the orange and pink sunset across the ocean. This thought alone creates an instant happy cocktail in your brain that can relieve you of those thoughts which were dwelling in that dark, smelly garbage bin, overflowing with anxiety and fear. See, number one, of course, to be motivated, right, for oneself, and to eliminate the worry thing, right? So what do? You learn the fine habit of how to replace worry with wonder. Instead of fearing what might occur, replace it with being curious and wondering what might occur. Realize that there are an infinite number of possible outcomes. This is when you chime in and say to yourself, anything is possible. So, an infinite number of possible outcomes that could manifest at any moment in your future. All day long, remain in a constant state of curiosity. You cannot be so arrogant to think that you actually know exactly what the universe has in store for you, or anyone for that matter. Now, as you begin to open the door of wonder, you start tapping into this awesome sense of innocence inside. Feels like your heart is a newborn flower opening its petals to the sun. For a few moments, right now, allow your heart to feel any feeling you can summon of pure innocence and goodness. Remember what it was like when you were a fresh newborn baby who knew absolutely nothing playing in the dirt, making sandcastles, looking at a butterfly passing by. Recall what life was like to be curious about everything. I'll join you in the meditation. I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose. Easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still. Do not try so hard. Your greatest life feels like a leaf floating down a slow, gentle river. Let it deliver you to the ocean, where you'll effortlessly manifest all of your greatest dreams. If the river should get too rocky, just take a little breather. Relax on the soft, sandy beach. Gather all your courage to put away your paddle. Sit back in warm, soft sand and enjoy your time being free. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night, and following morning. And we will return here tonight, around a little after 9:15 p.m. Eastern, to continue our Time for Change call. And Thursday, 5/23/2024, to continue our Global Guided Meditation call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest, eternal gratitude at all times. Watch the magic flow in